Oh,
a month. And so
oh,
with that amount of traffic alone, and I walked through that building to see what kind of amenities were there in terms of coffee shops and food, and it's pretty much vending that is there. So there's a great opportunity to get traffic coming in from the courthouse. And again, working with the magistrate office to have boutique weddings to advertise for individuals who are getting married. So we also have an opportunity as well, though, to have launch parties for small businesses as well, and anniversary parties for small businesses. We are walking distance from the terminal, the Performing Arts Center, of course, the old Stanton High School, and of course, the Emerald Trail will wrap around the building. James Weldon Johnson Park is also 3 blocks away. And I've already walked that. Lift Every Voice and Sing Park, I've already walked. That is on the north side. So James Weldon Johnson Park is downtown, 3 blocks across from City Hall. And there's a park that wraps around City Hall and the library. And then 3 blocks away, you cross the courthouse lawn, and then my building's on the other side. But if you keep walking 2 more blocks, keep going, Lift Every Voice and Sing Park, the tribute to James Weldon Johnson is there as well. Fort Hatch, again, is behind us. The old hospital, the old segregated hospital for African-American patients is actually a block and a half behind us as well. And so Clara White Mission and the library. So we are centrally located around a lot of activity and a lot of existing destinations and landmarks. My cursor. Okay, so the project timeline. We acquired the new LaVilla in 2021, and then it's created the LLC to take it out of the Center for Confidence, my current company, consulting firm, to make its own holding company. So the new LaVilla is its own holding company that we created for liability purposes, to keep the liability concentrated under that brand and not across our brands. The permitting process started with architectural and engineering drawings. So we are almost out of the design phase. The design phase includes the architect, engineer, the contractor, everyone that has to develop the plans to show permitting, what this future project is going to look like, and to get the permit so that we can break down. The initial plans were returned for safety code revisions. So we met with the fire department and had those approved. Now we have to go back through the process with the Historic Landmark Commission because we have to show that those revisions still protect the integrity of the historic features of the building. And then we go to the Downtown Investment Authority to qualify for incentives. They will give you, I can't remember how much per square foot, like $20 or $23 per square foot for retail enhancement. So they'll contribute a portion to the project that is part of the economic drivers that they're looking to support. So our next steps for the timeline for final approval for permitting, we are targeting Q4 2025 with groundbreaking Q1 or Q2 2026 with 12 months worth of construction, and the opening of the building will be projected at Q3 2027 or Q4 2027. If all goes well, the first quarter, the first target will be met rather than the second target being met. Okay, so opening in Q3 or Q4 2027. This is a 3 to 4 year hold for investors, meaning that the return on investment won't happen until we get to complete 1 full year of operation. We'll talk about that as well. This is the our layout of the upstairs and downstairs, the renderings that the architect put together for us, and the approximate square footage of each of these spaces. This is an example, what you see in red, of what we had to create to revise the project based on fire code and fire department feedback. They recommended that we go back and create a separate entrance for the residential unit upstairs. So we had to go back and rethink how this would look. So this is some of the background work that goes into acquiring and renovating a commercial space that is currently vacant. The marketing plan here, the business model in terms of the funds, we had to also submit to the Securities and Exchange Commission, breaking out the initial expenses that are involved and revenue that are involved after operation. So there's a 3-year pro forma that we had to build out and submit. We also had to go through auditing by an accountant, and we also had to work with an attorney to pull all of the legal documents together and the crowdfunding documents together. So it's a big team to pull together a crowdfunding campaign, because you're working with securities, and that's a very regulated and protected space. The portal that we use in terms of processing investments and managing any funds is Vestor. Vestor is a woman-owned, Black woman-owned crowdfunding platform. She started this platform in 2023. She just had her first successful $1 million raise, and so we are very excited about that. The portal is vestor.com, so VESTERR.com. I encourage everyone to just go on it and see how that looks on the back side of the investing portal. She is a portal, so there are 2 different kinds of funding portals. One's a broker, what is it called? A broker facilitator portal. She's a facilitator portal. So what they can and cannot do is also regulated by the SEC. However, she can accept accredited and non-accredited investors. And there's a huge difference in that when the Securities and Exchange Commission looks at a person's net worth, you have to stay within a certain amount of your net worth. And that's how they define accredited or non-accredited investors. These are the investment levels that we're using. So I would highly encourage you to look at our pitch deck, the full pitch deck on Vestor, and also the perks that go with this investment, because there are Q&As that are in terms of return on investment, risk. This is highly regulated because you have the potential in any investment situation to lose everything, to lose your investment. And so you have to make sure that that language is very clear, that even though we offer illustrations and projections, we don't know what the future holds. And so we have to explain that, you know, this is a securities deal and that there is risk involved with these deals. So these are the investments, and the perks that go with that are listed on the founding membership page of the website. When you're working in areas like LaVilla that are, you know, targeted for investment, there are, you know, tax benefits and tax incentives and all of that that are involved. So I include this for anyone who's interested in researching that, but there is no guarantee or expectation from us that these will be viable opportunities for you to, you know, get a return on your investment in another way, such as having a new market tax credit or having tax reductions. That's up for the individual investor to kind of research on their own, but we're just wanted to mention them here. The use of the proceeds, we have to be very clear about and stick to the use of proceeds. So this is another area where we have to break out the costs associated with the raise, not the costs associated with the development, the costs associated with the raise, because some of the outline costs have already been paid for. You know, this is a development that is self-funded at this point, so we don't have to account for those if they're already, you know, taken care of. The future raise is what we're looking for, and that's to complete the build out, and that's what these funds will go towards. Okay. All right, so that is the new LaVilla project. Does anyone have questions? I would turn it over to Tawanda to talk about how, you know, her vision for D8 Square and what she's trying to do to support investors and people like me who are interested in commercial real estate.
So were there any questions for Dr. V first?
Well, can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes. Hi.
Okay. Okay. This is Stella Webb speaking.
Hi, Stella.
I'm a licensed realtor. How you doing?
I am
And I,
wonderful. You're
I
breaking up just
also
a little
own a
bit.
beauty supply store. Can you hear me? I'm a licensed realtor, and my daughter and I own a beauty supply store, the only Black-owned
Awesome.
beauty supply store on the South Side, which is really Arlington slash South Side.
Yes.
And we have been looking at the East Side programs, but it looks so dead. So I'm so glad to hear something else is going on downtown. But I'm just wondering, with all that you got going on, is any like commercial, like restaurants coming into that area?
Yeah. So the mixed use area, the $80 million Uptown LaVilla, and
Mm-hmm.
the Gateway Jacks project on Pearl Street, those are huge projects that are coming to LaVilla.
Okay,
And
I'm
they're
talking
going to
like,
have restaurant,
okay.
retail,
Mm-hmm.
housing, everything you
Mm-hmm.
need, in terms of shopping, eating, and recreating will be in those spaces as well.
Okay. Okay.
Just come to
Now
me
I'm thinking of,
for your business needs.
yeah, bigger stores like, McDonald's and those, bigger commercial restaurants.
Say that one
Are
more
you
time.
are you talking about national restaurants or just private restaurants?
So public restaurants. So for example, I would imagine if they wanted to put a um, Olive Garden in there, they could.
Yeah. Okay.
So all types of
Mhm.
restaurants, large and small.
Okay. Got it. Okay. It's really good to hear this. It really is. So
Yeah,
much need. Big need downtown.
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, this sounds
and by
really good.
2028, it's not even going to look the same. And
Mm-hmm.
if again, if anyone would like to just have a one-on-one with me, I'm an open book. My handle's a true Dr. V. If you have a question that you don't want to ask here because we're recorded and just want to ask in a private one-on-one,
Yeah.
my scheduling link is in the chat. Let me make sure you all
Okay.
can see.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for
I'll
asking,
definitely do
Stella.
that. Mm-hmm. I'll do
Yeah,
that. Okay.
absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi. Hi, this is Yolanda.
Hi, Yolanda.
Hi, this is so wonderful. I'm
Thank you.
actually a Jacksonville native and I still live here. I live on the west side, but grew up on the north side of Jacksonville. I
That's
haven't
awesome.
ha
So,
I have
so Tawanda, Tawanda, so we have all of our areas here in Jacksonville because it's so big.
mhm,
So we heard north side, south side, west side, and I'm downtown.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm
Thank-
actually on near to Orange Park, so really
Okay.
west side. But
Yeah,
so I have a few questions, so please let me know if I need to kind of hold these.
sure.
Um, the first question I had, I haven't been on Investor yet, but I'm looking forward to going on. Is there an application process or is it whomever wants to invest can?
Yes, whoever would like to invest can.
Okay.
And the application portal is on Vestor. So that's the funding portal. They manage all of the financing, back of the house, financial transactions. So everything has to go through them and they're approved. They have an approved bank that they have to work with as well that's approved through the SEC. So everything's regulated on that side.
Okay, perfect. And when I saw your renderings, I did see an area for parking. I know downtown notoriously bad for
Mm,
parking,
mm,
like ridiculous, right? Um,
Yes.
that was a piece of land that was that the piece of land that you were going to acquire from the city?
No, that's the building in the middle. I'm
Okay.
just putting in my one-on-one questions here. Yeah, so the parking, there's a building, well, so far we don't have our own private parking. There's parking all around us, including on-street parking. And
Hmm.
so the great thing still about Jacksonville is that you don't have to pay for parking after 5 or 6. And you don't have to pay for parking on the weekends. But during business hours, especially when those people are going to the courthouse, they're on metered parking and they're in private parking. Again, it's right across, the street, adjoining the building, is parking there. Then there's the garage that's walking distance in front of the courthouse. So there's parking everywhere because they have to accommodate 1.1 million people a month. It's all public.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering if that rendering was true to the way that you guys were going to design it with parking right there. Um, and then just the last question about the co-working business model. I know that I think it's Union Terminal actually also does co-working, but it's a ways away nearer to the Jaguar Stadium. Is that business model set in stone? I know you said that you had to present this to the SEC, so it may very well be.
Well, the SEC is more worried about the funding and the case.
Okay.
In terms of how this building turns out, at the end of the day, the city controls that.
All right. So then the business model it is flexible.
Yeah, the business model is flexible, but if you're talking about the actual structure and build out, once the permit is approved, it'll look like this.
Okay.
And so how I use it on the inside when I want to. So as long as it's mixed use, like I can't turn it into a manufacturing plant, but
Mhm.
I can't hear you.
as long as it's mixed use, so, and it looks, somewhat like this, then that's acceptable. So minor operations changes are okay. Physical structural changes, I have to start over again.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. Thank
And
you so much.
yeah, we put enough, we put a lot in. Yeah, that'd be so painful if they came back and said, okay, this window is off. You need to get a separate permit for a window. I mean, it's that much detail because we had it historically landmarked. And so, the thing is, I didn't want to see another building torn down in LaVilla. There's only so many that are left.
Yeah.
And preserving what's there is important. That Masonic Lodge is going to stand. I mean, we know that. But Stanton High School, I think they finally started to get around, a foundation owns that, getting around to thinking about what they're going to do about it. But the buildings that were privately owned, there are a couple that they could tear down. I'm looking at the Westonian next to work with that family.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Okay,
I'm sorry, hi, it's Regina. I do have a question.
that's fine.
And thank you guys so much for this. When the email came through, I was intrigued that it was a development project by people of color. So I was just totally intrigued about that. My question, and it's twofold, is this in an opportunity zone? And are you guys familiar with opportunity zones?
Yeah, so the opportunity zone, I believe that was the one that is not. These were the ones that we looked up by zip code to
Okay.
see if we're in a development zone. And these were the 4 that came up. The opportunity zone, if I remember, went around us for some reason. Like it went to, for those of you all in Jacksonville, it went like to historic, it went to Chi-Con. It went to kind of the historic East Side areas away from LaVilla. I thought that was interesting, but no, we're not.
Yeah, I was trying to look at it on my phone real quick, and I couldn't tell whether the census tract was inside of the opportunity zone or across the street from what was plotted on the zone, because it would have been a great opportunity
Yes, ma'am.
for
Yes, ma'am. I know. Yes.
yeah.
We fell just short of it. I think we're a mile out of it or something like that. And again, I thought that was interesting because I would have said, I would have told anyone before I looked at it, if you're in an empowerment zone, a hub zone, and a new market tax credit, qualify for those in that area, then opportunity zone would be automatic, but it wasn't the case.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm definitely going to reach out to you as you guys are doing more development projects because my partners and I became fund managers about 2 years ago. So as you guys are looking to do different development projects, I think it's a great incentive to capital stack, but also to benefit from the job tax cut act that's out there, especially for investors. We got to play with the
Absolutely.
big boys. So I totally agree with what you guys are doing.
Yeah, and when you're dealing with this kind of, investment levels, you want every break you can qualify for. You
Absolutely.
don't want to leave anything on the
You
table,
don't
and
want to leave
especially
anything
for
on the
your
table.
investors. Yeah.
Absolutely. But I'm going to go on the Vestor. You said everything is on the Vestor page also?
Yeah, Vestor.com.
Is there a
VES.
PMP out there also?
Say it one more time.
I think it's called the PMP, the private placement, PPM, private placement management documents.
The private placement memorandum.
Yep, that's what it is. Is that out there
Yeah.
also? Okay, perfect.
I think that's on the Securities and Exchange Commission page, not on the Vestor page. But let me double check though, because we turned that into the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Okay.
I don't think there's a link directly to, but you can just look up Securities and Exchange Commission and then look up the project and it'll
And look up
show
LaVilla and it'll
up.
be there. Okay. Will
Yeah.
do.
So all the documents are public facing.
Perfect.
Because I haven't gone all the way through the investment portal, I'm on the funder side, not the investor side. I haven't gone through the entire transaction process, but I would imagine that those documents, the link to those documents should be there.
Okay. I'll go check that.
And I'm going to send an email to Devon just so I can be sure.
No, absolutely. No, this was great. I don't know anything about the Jacksonville area, but it seems like an amazing opportunity.
Come and see us. That's why I realized that we had to put this directional map here. You live in a place, you think, everybody knows where you live and it's home. So we realized how important it was to tell our story because like other major cities, the story of LaVilla, is not as well known as some of the major metropolitan areas, but it is a growth city. It is an Urban Land Institute supernova city. The future is pointing towards Jacksonville in a big way.
Which is huge, huge. And just one last question. On the 3 to 4 year hold that you were talking about, and I know you said that's after fully operational, you guys expect to be fully operational when?
By Q3 or Q4 2027. So if all permitting is approved by Q3, it'll be Q4 of this year, 2025. Breaking ground 2026 in the first part of 2026, 1 year to build it out. So that's first part of 2027, no later than fall 2027.
How are the relationships with the municipality? Are they friendly to you guys?
Well, everyone's friendly to LaVilla right now because this is where all the investment is going. And in the stadium, which is a mile and a half away, they're already going through some major investments as well. They're bringing the Four Seasons there.
Oh wow.
Hard Rock Cafe.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of stuff happening in Jacksonville, and so that's a mile and a half. You can take a mini shuttle if you don't want to walk that far. So that's happening already. They should be completed next year. Can't remember what their timeline was, but we can see they're almost done. The windows are going in, so that says a lot.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hello,
Yes,
Marion, do you
Marion.
have a question?
can you hear me?
Yes, I sure can.
Okay. I've enjoyed listening to all of you guys. I'm just wondering, am I the only male that's
No, all of the males show up at different. I host these once a week on Mondays, and so you guys don't ever show up at the same time. You all like to spread yourselves out. So, but yes, you're not the. But no, you're not the only one.
I'm a native Floridian. I was born and raised here in Jacksonville. And I enjoyed all of what you guys were saying because I presently have a structure. Are you still there?
Yes.
I presently have a structure that I purchased about 15 years ago. I bought it for my daughter when right before she went to Spelman, she said, Dad, you need to get involved in economic development downtown. You know, let's do something. And she had this idea about what she was going to do. Came out, did some terrific things, forgot about the building and left it to me, and I had it boarded up for quite a while. The building is 113 years old. Okay. I didn't do historic preservation or anything like that, or any kind of grants or anything like that to restore it. It is about 95, 98% finished with its renovation. I was inquisitive about when I saw your email because I wanted to try to find out, you know, what was going on, what it was about, all that other kind of good stuff. Because I've been strictly independent in what it is that I was doing.
Yeah. So let's have a conversation because the family that owns the Westonian, I'm trying to identify who are property owners downtown so that we can start to work together. Currently, I'm a member of the Incremental Development Alliance. And so that is who I was turning to for my education and understanding. It's a group of small independent developers nationwide.
Okay.
And so I'm a member of that group, and they have workshops, and I'm actually speaking during the February information session with some young lady from Boley, Oklahoma, who's interested in doing work there, and Lexington, Kentucky, who was already engaged in the Black Horseman story. So definitely let's, try to get on my schedule for one-on-ones and see if we can talk a little bit more about what you'd like to do.
Okay. But
Yeah.
it just seems like the steps that you are presently taking to do the development that you're involved with, it sounds like all of the steps that I did. Of course, my building is located in what they call the Cathedral District in Jacksonville. Are you familiar with it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we're
Yes.
within proximity of everything.
I'd love to see that.
The new
Yeah,
stadium.
my link's in the chat, but I'll also email you the link as
Okay.
well, Marion.
Okay. So
Yeah,
I would
appreciate
be
that.
interested in talking to others about potential investment because I've been trying to figure out what I want to do with it.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. So we'll get together for sure and get the word out. I appreciate it. Do you want to share the address?
138 East Duval.
Okay.
Okay, there's only 2 structures in this
I've
block.
been looking around there, so I'm sure I've seen it.
Yeah, they just recently tore down some structures that used to belong to the old Harvestone. I'm not sure what they're going to do with it. I tried to make some inquiries about acquiring it, but I guess I didn't have the power and didn't know the right people.
Ooh, that's
But
important.
Jacksonville is progressive, but it's not that progressive that where we people who look like us can make things happen like we want to make it happen without some kind of participation from others. So I would definitely be interested in talking to others about this structure because it is privately owned. Okay, I'm the owner, and I'm interested in talking to others about it.
Okay. All right. We'll get on each other's schedule. All right. Thank you, Marion. Tawanda, turn it back over to you.
Sounds good. Thank you. I appreciate all the questions, as I'm sure Dr. V does as well. I had the privilege of kind of seeing this project before it was completely done and presented and all of that. So I'm super excited about it. Although I am not from Jacksonville, I'm glad there are a lot of you who are, and you know the area, and you know what it can become. So again, just a little bit about myself. And so, you know, D8 Square Consulting is for projects like this, right? You know, you have someone like Dr. V, or you have someone like Marion who owns a property, or they're looking to purchase a property, or they're just looking to invest, period. And they're trying to figure out what's the best course of action, what's the best way to go. One of the things that I love about what Dr. V has done is that she has not only done a lot of research about the area, because you can have an idea all you want, but if the area doesn't fit the idea, it's not going to work. You know, to Stella's point or question, you know, with she being a realtor and owning a beauty salon store or a hair, I'm sorry, Stella, if I'm getting it wrong, but a beauty shop or beauty supply store. Knowing that you're going to have the right type of clientele to be able to frequent your location is important, right? We don't want to buy buildings just to buy buildings. And I loved Regina's questions as well. And I love a statement that you made. And I think Marion made the same statement, like we really need to come together to make these things work, but we can't come haphazardly, right? You have to come with a dynamic team. They have to be well versed in not only development, but you have to have someone that has a rapport with the municipality, right? It's a science and an art, trying to get them to understand what it is that you want to do, and getting them to sign off on that. You have to have that relationship with your lender. I happen to be a commercial lender as well. And so I not only work with small businesses, but I work with commercial real estate investors and developers. So having someone like me on your team who can advocate for you on your behalf for our loan committee or underwriters or credit department. And so, you know, a lot goes into this. But we can talk about all of that, but really that crowdfunding piece is really an opportunity for us to come together as a community. I'm going to take a side note for like 2 seconds, and don't knock me off of the platform, Dr. V. I don't know anybody's anybody's affiliation with, you know, if they're Republican or Democrat or independent. But what I will tell you, kind of what Regina said, it is our time to be taking a part in this commercial real estate part of the industry, right? Setting party aside, if you take a look at some of those benefits, and I hate to say the words, but I'm going to say it because that's just the title, in that one big, beautiful bill, there are some opportunities there for those who want to invest in real estate, specifically commercial real estate. A lot of the regulations that are starting to go away, which I don't agree with a lot of them, especially like the environmental regulations that are going away, because that doesn't really help communities. But if it's going to help you or all of us collectively to be able to start investing in our communities, just because it goes away doesn't mean that we don't have to do those things, right?
Yes.
We can still make sure that we are investing in clean energy, that we are investing in clean air, that we are providing different resources for those who are tenants to our buildings. But if it's going to add a tax incentive, take advantage of it.
Go for it.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Take advantage of it, because that's the reason why a lot of those things are going by the wayside right now. So instead of us getting upset and fussing about it and saying what he's doing is wrong and all of that, we need to take advantage of those opportunities right now, because the door is wide open for all of us. Now, one of the things that one of the things that Dr. V and I talked about earlier before you all jumped on was access to capital. And one of the reasons,
and
go ahead.
Tawanda, so we're right at 8 o'clock. This is recorded, so if anyone needs to drop off, you know, don't feel bad about it. What Tawanda's about to say something really good, so I just want you to know if you have to drop off, go ahead and drop off, because I'll upload the recording to our YouTube channel, and then you'll get it in the newsletter that it's ready.
Yeah, I do have to drop off, but thank you guys so much. But I do agree with the political climate, with the changes to opportunity zones.
Mhm.
It's wide open right now.
Yep.
You know, it
Yeah.
may not be meant for us, but it's definitely meant for us if we know how to play in it. So, but
Exactly.
thank you both. So I'll talk to you, Dr. V. Talk to you guys
Regina,
soon.
great seeing you. Yeah, and
Same
it's for
here.
everybody, so we just need to show up, for
Yeah.
sure, and
Yeah, and
participate.
so and I won't belabor the point. I think like Dr. V said, if you all have any questions for me, I'm always open and available to have conversations, excuse me, because at the end of the day, real estate is really real estate. Yeah, it changes with regard to what you can and can't do in different areas and different zones and all of that. But at the core of it, it's can you afford it? What are you going to do with it? And does it make sense? Not only for you, but for the municipality, right? And so, you know, as far as I was going to say, we were talking about access to capital, and we were discussing like where to get the money and basically why we're doing crowdfunding now, and why that platform is so huge and it's so beneficial, not only for those who are looking for opportunities to get their projects funded, but it's also a great opportunity for those who want to play in that commercial real estate space, right? But they don't want to necessarily own the building. They want to be a passive investor. This is a great opportunity for you to kind of get your feet wet, you know, see what it's all about. Now, like Dr. V said, you have to understand that there is risk, right? But there's risk in everything. It really is. But one of the benefits, again, with this platform is that before, and I don't know if how many of you know, but you probably do, before you had to be considered an accredited investor. And that means that you had to make at least $250,000 to be able to pay all of your bills and all of that. Anything above that, you're good. If you didn't have anything above that, you weren't allowed to invest, because that you were considered someone who, if you invested your money and lost it, you could cause harm to yourself. And they didn't want that to happen, right? Now that opportunity is open, you just have to be smart enough to decide how much of your funds are you willing to risk, right? But when you are presented with a project similar to this, and let me, full disclosure, Dr. V didn't know I was going to say any of this. She asked me what was I going to talk about, and I said I just talk off the cuff, right?
Absolutely.
I
Whatever
just talk.
moves you. Yes.
Exactly. And I probably should be scripted, but I never am, because I always go off script anyway. Um, but you know, for projects similar to this, because as a commercial lender, commercial real estate lender as well, I see a lot of projects come across my desk, right? And what I don't see in a lot of them is a well thought out plan, a well put together team. It's so important to make sure that you have all of those things in place, because if you don't have the experience yourself, the team that you surround yourself can help you get over that hurdle. If you're going to a municipality and you have a GC, or you have someone that understands zoning and they've been before the zoning board, they've been before permits and planning and all of that, they have a good reputation, you have them on your team, it's probably a good chance that your project is going to get approved. Not that they're going to like everything the first time, is always something they don't like. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, having that relationship allows you to be able to move your project through. And then two, as that relates to crowdfunding, for me, that just gives me the warm and fuzzies. That you've done your due diligence as an investor, as a developer, and I know that I can look up whoever it is that you have on your team and see what their background is, what their experience is, and know that, okay, if I invest in this, I'm going to be good to go. And if, you know, everything, some things happen. And if unfortunately, you know, I may lose money, I'm still okay. I'm still okay. And so, yeah, I love it. The dream team,
Yeah,
right?
so I was very intentional around choosing um, a contractor who already had city projects and was working with the
Mhm.
city. And so Married to Pony has already worked on downtown historic projects. Ray Evans is actually the architect of record for the Stanton High School that the city is and the foundation is helping to develop. And the other, so I have two architects. The other architect, Brooke Robbins, is working with the other big developers. So I kind of wanted her to give me an insight on what they were up to. And so, you know, the full team is a well-respected, vetted team. And so that is,
Yes.
again, critically important.
Yeah.
The consultant, Cynthia, is experienced in commercial real estate crowdfunding. She's also a Goldman Sachs business advisor. She's currently developing a tiny home community in outside of Dallas. And some of her projects have gone through the full crowdfunding, commercial real estate crowdfunding experience as well. And Nikki Lewis used to work in economic development for the city. So I wanted, again, someone who was familiar with the city. And yes, it's very important to make sure that your team has good relationships with the municipal government. Yeah. Thanks for
Yeah.
mentioning that, Tawanda.
Yeah, no problem at all. You know, again, just for me as a realtor, as an investor, developer, lender, I've seen it all. And, you know, being able to put together a well-respected team definitely matters. And you know, and that's one of the reasons why, if I can pivot really quickly back into a little bit of my background, that being a part of the 1 million Black women, Black in business cohort 7, was that 7 or 6? Oh gosh, time's flying. I think it was
You were
6.
6.
I was 6, yeah. Yeah, 7's my favorite number, but we'll go with 6. Being a part of cohort 6, it was definitely an eye opener for a precursor to what I was going to pivot into, and not even knowing that that's what I was going to do. You know, again, with my background, I ran a real estate team for 13 years. We had agents in Pennsylvania, Maryland, DC, Virginia, and Georgia. Um, I started in commercial real estate. So coming back home basically to my roots, which is commercial real estate, being in that arena at 1 million Black women, Black in business, the issue that was talked about a lot, if you will, was access to capital, right?
That's a
And
big,
then,
big deal.
and it, yeah, I'm sorry.
That was a big issue. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. It was a huge issue. And then, you know, some of my cohort sisters that I had conversations with were also talking about being able to purchase spaces to house their buildings. You know, they were doing it out of their apartments, out of their basements, out of their garages, but they just didn't understand how they could translate that into a space. And so being able to kind of use my background to say, hey, let's have a conversation about that. What is it that you're doing? What is it that you want to do? And how can we structure your business and your deal such that you can be ready to access capital? You can get debt. And then in some instances, people can get equity as well. And so one of the things that I do is I help you put together your plan, right? What are you looking for? How much do you need? Can you even figure out, based on your cash flow, based on your revenue, how much you would be qualified for a loan? Those things I think are extremely important because you can tie that into the crowdfunding, right? How much can I raise? Or
And
how much
Tawanda,
do I need?
we're gonna wrap it up no later
Okay,
than 8:15.
okay,
Just to
no
respect everybody's
worries.
time.
Yep.
But no,
And
continue.
yeah. So I can actually wrap it up. I think all of this ties in, right? It really does tie in to figuring out how much you need, hence the million, if I'm not mistaken, Dr. V, you're trying to raise.
It's a $1.2 million raise.
Okay, $1.2 million. And that's because you're actually running all of your numbers, saying how much you need, how much you can get, and what your debt could potentially look like. And then the young lady that jumped off, she was talking about the capital stack. What does that look like and where's your gap, right?
Yeah, and I also HUD has some good workshops as well on creating your pro forma, and
Yeah.
that debt ratio formula was
Mhm.
you know, I like to know when I hand it off to someone to work with the numbers that I can ask informed
Did I
questions.
get it?
Right.
And I recommend that every
For him
investor
it is, but for
do
me,
that.
let me see.
And so
It's on, but it isn't working. It's
one
just
thing that
on.
I
I
did
can't get
was I
a
took
station on
their
mine.
training
His
courses
is
as
back
well.
on. He came in here crying like a baby. So
Oh, she didn't
Thank
know
you.
she was. I put her on mute.
Yeah.
Doris, we heard you, so I put you on mute. So yeah, so understanding those numbers is, you can't move forward if you don't understand these numbers.
Correct.
It's a numbers game.
Yeah. So anyway, Dr. V, I wanted to thank you. I know we're over time. So thank you very much for allowing me to be a part of this. If any of you have any questions at all about what it is that I do, how I could potentially help you, again, for me, real estate is the same across the board. I think I mentioned earlier when I was working at a law firm that I did mergers and acquisitions of businesses across the world. So it really is a universal language, right? No matter where you are. So if you all have any questions about projects that you're working on, how you need to prepare yourself to get loans for your businesses or your real estate acquisitions, construction, development, what have you, feel free to reach out. The best place to reach me, honestly, is either my cell phone or LinkedIn. My handle is not on here, but it is Tawanda
Put it in the
Thomas.
chat. I'll put it in the
Yep.
chat. LinkedIn.
Okay. Yep. On LinkedIn, that's probably the best two places to get me, either my cell phone or LinkedIn.
Is it
And
your
I'll be
last
more.
name?
Yep. Tawanda Thomas. Yes. Yes. So
Okay. Does
feel free
anyone
to
have
look me.
questions? Does anyone have questions for Tawanda in the moment that she can answer? Okay, I think we're good. And so I just wanted to say very quickly about different types of lenders, that not everyone is going to work within the type of, you know, business model that you have, industry that you want to work in. They may not even have the capacity to support you. So, you know, when I started, I found that, you know, there's some lenders that won't lend to historic landmarks. There's some lenders who will, what was the other issue? The business model, you know, the type of business. Someone recently said we only do healthcare. And so also understanding what those business models are as well. And then at the end of the day, even if you have everything that you need, the cash that you need, the business model that you need, it may be that it's just not the right time for that bank. And so I had to go to, first time I learned what a hard money lender was, had to go to a hard money lender initially to acquire the building and then refinance it to the local, it wasn't the CDFI, credit union. They received a huge influx of money during COVID, and so they had capacity. And so, you know, that process could be, in terms of funding, could be a little bit different as well, when you have to really put out a large initial outlay yourself. And even when you do that, you may have to go to a hard money lender to fill in the gap to acquire the building. So Tawanda can talk to you about, you know, all of those scenarios if you're in that situation.
Right. Sounds good.
Okay,
Well, thanks
so
again.
thank you all so very much for being here. Really appreciate it. Again, my one-on-one session link is in the chat. If anyone would like to talk further about their particular scenario, please like and follow us on the social media handles and on LinkedIn. And thank you for opening my newsletters. They will keep coming. The campaign ends September 20th. After September 20th, we'll start looking at some other ways to, continue to look at other properties to complete this raise if we fall short. But either way, this project is going to happen, and we so appreciate your being here. Just help us to get the word out. Thank you, everyone.
Good.
Thank you, Tawanda. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you. Bye-bye.